today is our first little lesson online. Before we get started though, I do have to tell you that I really love and miss you so very much. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I wash my hair and put on makeup for this and I just don't want to cry, but I do think about you every day. I pray for you every night. I hope things are going well for you at home. Again, I'm Mrs.Lee, in case you forgot, since you've been immersed in TikTok, Snapchat, and Fortnite. But we're going to start today with a lesson on photosynthesis, because your stuff sent out from the county this week is about the carbon cycle, and photosynthesis is a part of that. So I want to kind of regroup and review photosynthesis. So here we go. So when is food not food? A lot of you, or most of you, maybe have seen this before. It's literally labeled plant food, but it's really not how plants get their food. Plants make their own food. So plants are really kind of cool. They have inside of their cells kind of their own kitchen. So mom plants don't get that phone call every single day like, hey mom, what's for dinner? Baby plant, you make your own food. Daddy plant, you make your own food. Same food every night, but this is valuable for plants because it's a fertilizer. It's kind of like vitamins for our plants. So inside of that is like calcium and phosphorus and things that help the plant grow. But it's not how plants get their food. And we know that we need food for energy, and plants need food for energy as well. So here's how plants make their own food. It's a process called photosynthesis. When we look at our Greek words right here, okay, photo means light, synthesis means putting it together. So they take that light and they put it all together. Plants, because they make their own food, we refer to them as an autotroph. This Greek term auto means self, troph means food. When you look at it in Greek, you'll see the E on the end. Obviously, we are a heterotroph. We don't have the ability within ourselves to make our own food. Like, I mean, I know y'all walk to a microwave, pop in pizza rolls, you're good to go. But within ourselves, we can't make our own food. So this is considered an autotroph. So how do they make their own food? They take sunshine. It is a beautiful day out here. They take this energy from this sunshine. This is the leaf, okay? And so this light energy is captured within this leaf right here. And it goes deep down into the cells, okay? We know that plants are multicellular like us, meaning many cells. And so once we're inside of the cells, if we could blow up our cell, this plant cell, it would look like this. We know that plant cells have what that we don't? Good, cell wall, okay? And that cell wall is what helps them to keep their more rigid structure. As they begin to lose water, we'll see them begin to wilt and things like that. And that just means that they'll need more water and more food. So if we were to go inside of a cell, you're gonna go into this little organelle called the chloroplast. Now, how do things get in and out of a cell? Excellent, okay. Their wall is semi, which means half permeable. So it's not totally permanent. It needs stuff to be able to go in and out, in and out. And because of that, eventually you'll see how we get our oxygen, okay? So once this sunlight is captured in this leaf, if you look at the bottom of these leaves right here, okay, and if you could go inside of this, like with a microscope or something, you would see little pores. Inside of those pores is where, okay, this little compound, carbon di meaning two, oxide, so carbon dioxide will go inside of that. So we're going to take our sunlight plus, so if it were like a recipe that we were cooking up, we're going to take our sunlight plus carbon dioxide. This is how you would look at it in a chemical equation, because this is all kind of going to be a reaction, okay? Carbon dioxide, and then from its roots, and this has a really pretty root system, if you can see that right there, from the roots of this asexual potato that's producing many more potatoes, love it, okay? So from the root, this hydrogen dioxide, which we know is water, is going to travel up through that root system, okay? All of this is going to react, so it's all kind of like added together. When we look at this as a chemical equation, these guys are going to be called our reactants, okay? And so just like in a recipe, once you mix things together, they're going to react together and they're going to create something. This in our equation, we read that as yield. So sometimes when you look in a recipe book, if you see like this yields 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies, that's gonna, yields means it's gonna give you. So these things all react together. They're going to convert, and once they convert, they create a sugar called glucose for our plant and oxygen for us. I'm sorry, like my board's not big enough. Dealing with what we have here, folks. Okay, so these are my reactants. Light from the sun travels through the leaves. From the underside of that leaf, that carbon dioxide travels. Also water from the roots. They get together, they mix up, they react, kind of like if we were to mix brownies, mix them up, put them in the oven. This reaction yields or gives me the glucose, which is sugar, for my plant, which creates food, which creates energy for that plant. And then what's left over, like when we choose to eat like potatoes or carrots or things like that, that's the sugar that we get from those plants as well, plus oxygen. So for us, we know that oxygen is something that we need, okay? So plants need carbon dioxide from us, we need oxygen for them. So the oxygen that they don't use, they exhale. We know that that prefix X means to exit. They exhale oxygen, and then it goes back into our atmosphere for us. So this process called photosynthesis just kind of creates a cycle, just kind of the flow of energy. So here's our tree, okay? It exhales oxygen, okay? Here's us. We inhale that oxygen, and we know, like when we inhale, from talking about the circulatory system, that oxygen travels through our blood and then through our cells. And then for us, we exhale CO2, which is a waste product for us, but it's what, if you go back and look at your, when is food not a food and how does plant make food, it is a reactant that a plant needs. So tomorrow when we pick back up here, we'll talk about like what do we do in order to help these plants and what's that process called. But for today, we're just going to end up with photosynthesis. If you want to practice, some great ways to practice are to write out your reaction, yields, what does it give you over here, and just kind of constantly practice just that chemical equation and what that equation looks like. I hope to see you again real soon. I will link this to my webpage so you can look at it, you can practice it, and do kind of whatever you need to do to study for the other stuff on my webpage. Talk to you soon. Bye.